What's going on, everybody? Gustav the 13th here with a new video talking about the new suit in GBO2 console for the week of the 5th of June 2025. We have another F90 suit here. It is the F92 I-Type or Intercept. Another 750 raid and actually a 750 baseline here. Now let's take a look at the kit, which really is pretty simplistic. But we have something that's kind of interesting here. So we have the blade launcher, or I would say blade launcher, but beam launcher in general. It has 3200 damage here, heat rate of 70 and a range of 750. So this also launches, but also has a charge shot, believe it or not, that pierces and can nullify some beam resistance as well. So also beyond that, beam saver, 2800 damage. Kind of surprised that's not 3k, but we have the beam lancer collision. So in this case, melee weapon with a piercing beam blade in the shape of a lance, compatible with aerial melee system and flight shield attack skills. Cannot be used while the BL is overheating as a primary ranged weapon. Keep that in mind. Because that can make things troublesome. But we also do have Vulcans, which are pretty solid, and then we have the machine cannon on the shield itself. We're probably going to talk about this a little bit in a couple aspects, but for now, let's get into the stats and skills. So decent amount of health, 23k. Ballistic beam and melee aren't too bad, but again, ballistic being that low on a raid at this cost feels a little bit rough, considering just how much Vulcans are leaned into, and a lot of the level boosted suits at this cost tend to have, because we're seeing a lot of Zwei's and all this other stuff, so that's a little bit rough to contend with. Again, as a raid, leaning more to melee, so we have 20 range but 55 melee strength. Movement speed is 135, top speed is 230, so definitely out there in terms of speed. Thruster gauge is a 80 baseline, and turning speed is 72, which not awful, but considering some of the stuff we're going to be talking about in that shield riding mode, you might want to put a little bit more on there depending, and we'll talk about the aspects of that too when we get into the practice round. Let's see, so for close, medium, and long, we have 24, 21, and 11. In terms of our skills then, we have Assault Booster 3, Emergency Evasion System 2, Flight Control Program 4, Glide Structure 3, Anti-Blast Stabilizer 1, Melee Composite System, so you can actually use a melee attack or tackle to cancel hard landings, all that good stuff. Definitely just trying to keep you moving and all that. High Spec Ambac 2, Offense System 1, Maneuver Armor 4, Force Injector 3, Aerial Melee 2, Heavy Attack, which considering some of the gimmicks with the lance when we show it off, the heavy attack's really good, but most of the time you're going to see people flying around trying to poke each other, and it's, especially in the beginning, that's what I was trying to do as well. Flat Booster 2, Special Left Arm Equipment Buffer, so the shield is not a shield in this case, as you probably saw in the weapon loadout, but it is a 30% buffer, considerably big part of the body as well. And then Flight Shield Attack, so this is the big thing here. By selecting this with a supportive weapon equipped and moving forward using high speed movement for a set period, your unit is put into high speed movement attack position. While in this position, mobility increases and staggered due to cumulative damage from range fire is reduced. Also, further consumption of high speed movement is reduced, and stagger/damage is dealt to all enemies collided with. Colliding with enemy units in mid-air will blow them back and increase damage dealt. I forget there is a match where we do it mutually, so one thing to keep in mind, if you do it to another one of these, unless you angle yourself better, a head-on collision means you're both going to do it. You're just going to both knock each other out of here. But I get that they wanted that in case you were being opposed by other F90s and stuff. Let's get into... oh shit. Let's get into the enhancement list real quick. So, nothing crazy here. Which you would think after we just had the other one, it had like level 4 stuff and all that crazy. It's like, man, wow, they're gonna really upgrade this, and this is all just flat level 1 junk. So +1 to anti-beam. +1 to melee, woo. +1 to thruster. Expansion comes at the very end for 2860, and then the upgradable ones, +5 to anti-beam, and then +5 to melee. Which the +5 to melee, considering that we're already at like 55 baseline, putting you at base 60, not bad. Or I guess in this case, what, base 61 or whatever. But let us get into this round for practice. We'll show off how this whole ramming beam sphere bullshit works, because that's definitely the bigger thing. But there's some other things to get into as well. So not too bad on the shot. Might as well just get this part out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13, obviously that's 2 shots per. And I want to say the Vulcans are very similar. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Obviously, rate of fire is really good. You got a mag of 60 on this. You got a mag of 60 on that. Always got to keep in mind that a lot of this stuff's going to have damage control. It's going to be more for either of those. This is probably the main reason that very few things that are at this base cost will not have anything under 60 when it comes to that kind of junk. In fact, we can probably... Well, I don't really want to because I want to do the Lance Anther, but... Let me just say... Boop! Good old piercing shot there. And now we get into the melee. So, heavy attack. You probably want to lead out a little bit, because you're counting on it hitting on the side there when it follows through. But very good. I actually like that one a lot. It's not super awful to space, although again, if you do it too close, of course, you can get a couple other people, but you're only gonna follow up on the second person potentially. The lance itself, the melee, the downswing is really good. As you saw there, it's also instant knockdown. The one thing I don't like, however, is what the fuck is that? The right swing in particular is very finicky, because it just wants to do it, and even though it's reaching over for the left, it's not really hooking it. So like, you gotta be real close. And then of course when you're doing the right, it's not going to the right, it's pushing behind you when you're doing stuff with the camera. So part parallax issue, part just really awkward animation. It really needs to just have a really tight arcing hitbox for when it's bringing it around. I think the hitbox needs to come out immediately as opposed to just the stab, which really feels like that's what's happening here, right? Because you're not going to be in situations where those angles are relevant that often. No, okay. The other big thing, and the thing that feels like it kind of distracts from what the suit should really be about, is this. So you're flying around. The best thing about this is probably the traversal, and like they said, you can collide with people in the air and knock them over. In regular situations, you hit them and they get staggered like that. Most of the time, you're probably going to do that and then try to stop as fast as possible, fold back into your other melee, and give them the business. So you do one of these and then come back around, maybe do a downswing. That one doesn't, the downswing on this for the lance doesn't really steer super well. And speaking of steering, as you can probably see, it's kind of just using your regular turning speed. Because this isn't necessarily a mobile armor mode, you can't handbrake and turn harder. So you really do gotta pick when you do it. And if it looks like you're getting outturned by other shit, don't be afraid to like come out of this mode real quick, boost yourself, and then bring yourself back into that mode again. Especially if you put some aux burners or something else to kind of mitigate your boost usage, can be useful to keep in mind. That being said, there's a couple things that I kind of have a gripe about. I feel like for the fact that they want you to do this and that they give you so much reason to do it when it comes to air collisions and all this other stuff, it's a little strange to me that we have this front-facing cannon, but it can only be used in neutral movement, and we can't necessarily use it to fire while we're doing this, even though the impact itself is just from us boosting. Our gun fingers should be free for that. Also, that was really silly. You could just bounce on their fucking heads. And like I said, ideally, if you collide with another one of yourself in the air, like another one of these suits, you probably should bank on going in an angle and just bringing it down, because you can clip them like that. But yeah, I really wish that you could fire. I wish that this mode was a little bit more active than you just banking on your high-speed movement speed to catch up with shit, because everything in this cost is really fast. The bigger thing that I guess you would have to retaliate with if your pursuit's not going that well would be landing with a shot that doesn't have any ASL. Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be, you know, the usual skill issue. Oh, this is good. But also the Vulcans. But like I said again, there's a fair amount of things that are probably gonna have DC or some other sort of resistance for that too. So in that case, you're still hoping that the firing rate is gonna make up the difference. Let's bring ourselves over to the thing here. Actually, I'm a little bit curious, because again, the other thing is that other suits are probably going to mitigate a good amount of the downswing stuff from that too. In fact, I wouldn't even say that was probably the whole dealie. Yeah, I think that was only part of it. But the rifle doesn't do too bad when it comes to damage to the base. The melee, definitely not doing Agugai levels of damage. A little bit of visibility. But again, your only other weapons are your Vulcans and your shield cannons. Those aren't going to do a lot either. So it's mostly going to be your rifle if you want to try to contribute. Wow, no, that is the whole thing. Damn, so that's like 8k. Obviously, you can bump that up pretty easy, and that's like neutral damage. If we go to like the HML, it'd probably be a little bit more. There's our buddy. Hi, buddy. Right, so like 93. If you get into there with a little bit more mod, you'll probably be hitting about 10 or 11 or so. So, I mean, that's not awful. And obviously, because of how fast-paced these matches are, heavy attacks can be fun and pretty devastating in the right situations, but they also get you in a lot of trouble. So, you know, maybe don't fret too much about that. But overall, interesting to see another one of these. Interesting that it's another 750 and that they didn't put it at 700. But it does seem like this has enough to kind of hold itself, just in terms of the sheer speed and the kind of gimmicks and stuff that they want to do. We do have a couple matches. I'm gonna be real with you. Interesting as this suit was, it was kind of frustrating to run yesterday. So I'm gonna put one of those right around here. There's so many questions from that last episode though. Yeah, generated ads. Oh, time to cancel. Yeah, it's trash. Hot garbage. I love how like we had that whole Coca-Cola commercial debacle and like that just wasn't enough, I guess. Ooh, come on. Ooh. Oh, hit up. One thing to keep in mind is that I don't think you can actually quick turn or like not quick turn, but what's the word? Like do air brakes with the SFS. Ew. Oh, I didn't hit it in time. No. Fuck. Yeah, it needs this to be a touchpad. It needs to not be a gimmick on the weapon itself. It feels like it encompasses too much that way. Oh my god, what are you doing?
味方が敵モビルスーツを撃破したようだ。味方が落ちたと中継地点が敵に奪われていると問題ないダメージだ。全部その
Oh my god! Oh my god!
が限界か。脱出を許可する。落とされただ。やってくれんな。族娘が味方が敵モビルスーツを撃破したようだ。
Yeah, it would be neat if he could actually just... So, I think...
味方が落ちただと
No, it should be able to fire, actually, because it's in the front of the shield. When it flips it forward, it should be pointing that way. And just give it, like, a little bit of ASL or something. Hag operator. Super hag operator. Come on, it just sounds like a grandma. Who is this, Asian? Is this a new operator? Bye-bye. Whoop. Oh boy. No. That's not my target. Where's the fucking... There he is. No, that's not him. Where the hell is he? Oh, there he is. Whee! What do you mean? That should have stopped you from even doing that. Yeah, thrust and turning. I mean, I got turning speed on here. And I put the special fuel in it. Oh, my lord. No pressure. No pressure. Oh, hi, bud. Hey, hey, hey. Do it, do it. Yeah. No. Why? 100? No, you're not. Stop it. You're gonna get melted even faster than I am. The hell do you mean you're gonna give it 100 turning speed? Also, having no hang time ASL like with the Vesper cannons or anything is kind of brutal. Oh shit! Actually, I don't think Fi's gonna make it. Ooh, he's doing it though. Get away! No! Shotgun firing move. How does that work? Because it's just an eye field holding it all together, right? It's a shotgun, damn. That'd be crazy. Another beam shotty. That would be good as a descending shot too. Just to be able to spray that down on somebody. Achoo. A sneeze. I think so, brother. I think what's happening. What the hell?
問題ないダメージだ。戦闘継続しろ。味方が落ちただろ。拠点が爆破された。
Grandma's very chatty.
中継地点が敵に奪う。敵の
Get it. Yeah. He just landed in the... Imagine if it was a beam like shrapnel.
その程度のダメージで値を上げるな。作戦残り時間1分。
Can I help you? What are you doing? He popped at that low, god damn it. No. Or 40. Yeah, I mean 40 is pretty grandma. I'm curious now. Hold on.
味方が落ちただろ。うかつな。出撃せよ。味方が落ちただろ。うかつな。
I got away. No. Oh my god.
我々の勝利だ。
Why you sound like that? Ugh. I got to boop so many things. We'll probably just use that one then. 'Cause Jesus, dude. It's a process, that's for sure. I don't know. I mean, like, if you can get that booped to do a certain amount, I'm gonna check something and I'll probably talk to you guys about it in the video if it's like a set amount of damage. But we'll see. In general, pretty neat. Not super my favorite. I feel like if you could smack this and the MZ together, when it comes to the mobile firing and the kind of shit this is doing, I think I'd be happy with this suit. But as it is now, there's bits and pieces that I like, but not really the whole package.
今回の戦闘報酬だ。
And that was our round in the F92 space, not 92, just the 92i. And I don't know. Something that I said in one of the matches, I don't know if it's the one that we're going to put in, but I feel like this and the other F90, the MZ or whatever, that can reach 750, I feel like both of them have stuff that should have been put together, especially when you consider that this is just like a beam version of that other launcher that the Denanzan uses. It's weird that this doesn't have a machine gun as well. It's weird that it can't be fired mobily. You actually have to have hang time in the air or just neutral movement to fire it. And again, beyond that, the shield needs neutral movement to fire. And I've already discussed how I wish that this could be shot while doing our little charge here. It feels like there's a lot of mobility possibilities that they just kind of passed up on. And I think that's just going to be a prevailing thing for a lot of the F90 configurations. And part of me gets that. It's like, oh, that's why there's so many. They had different things. It's like, but it doesn't feel like the kits being used here are being utilized to the fullest in a way that makes sense. So I really hope that maybe they add that later, you know, because little bits and pieces of this are neat. I wish they had more mobile firing like the MZ did, and I think if they were put together a little bit better, that this could be an even better contender, especially because it has to deal with so much ballistic dump. And honestly, just the F91 overall being a good and, to a certain degree, better suit still. So, very neat. If you, like, are sorely lacking in, choices at 750, maybe you missed the other banners, maybe some other stuff hasn't really been clicking with you, or you just never got the 91 or whatever. This banner in particular, the way that they spanned it out, it has 2 discounted 10 spins. It's a 5-stepper, which really is just a weird roundabout way of them making you do 4 steps to get the suit, like some of the lower rarity banners in the past that have had 4-steppers. Because to be honest, unless you're really, really lucky, you're probably gonna have to do all 5 steps. So it's not awful in terms of throwing down the tokens for, but I don't really know for certain if this is gonna be something that is going to last too long, because in a similar fashion, the MZ definitely has its fans, but we haven't seen it as much in the weeks after its implementation compared to just other stuff. I'm seeing more people run the Jesta and this Y and shit more often than they are running any kind of raid at that cost, which I think is still pretty telling of the problems with the cost range. And we'll see how long it takes for them to really resolve that, or maybe this will actually, you know, help a little bit more than I'm giving credit for. But we will see as the week unfolds. I'm a little bit slow to get this on my own account. This is actually from Asian's account, as you probably saw when we were bumping in here. But that's the long and short of my thoughts on the new F92 Intercept. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if you're actually spinning for this, and good luck if you're going to spin for it later. But otherwise, this is Gustav the 13th. I'll talk to you all in the next video.